In Path of Exile 3.19, for better or for worse, the game saw a drastic change in the ways that players are rewarded. And while this resulted in some people leaving the game, those that remain have been tasked with one thing: finding the loot. Yo guys, welcome to the video. This is Josh, or Milky, and in today's video, it is day number 6, and we are going to be doing some Jungle Valley Delirium Orb maps. Now the purpose of these maps is to use Wandering Path and to roll the maps well enough to make it so if we see any God touched, it's going to spoil us, give us tons of divines. Now I'm investing a lot into this strategy, and I don't know if we're going to make the money back. This is the first video I've actually pre-recorded the intro and everything. So I don't know. The strat is inspired by something I've seen Elleshar doing on stream. So it's his tree. I will link it in the description. We'll go over it now, but enjoy the video. So here we are in game, and look at that monstrosity. It's a Wandering Path tree. You should be familiar with Wandering Path if you watch one of our previous videos. And what it does is it gives us as many rares as physically possible to get them out. We've got all the breaches, all the legions, altars, we got beasts, and then obviously abysses as well. So all these things give you tons of rare mobs, and then when you partner that with the rarity, quantity, and increased effect of the maps, as well as rolling the maps for specific modifiers, you kind of guarantee if you get a God touched, it's going to be at least somewhat rewarding. So this is the tree. It'll be linked down below, and then I'll show you what you need to get started. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. Okay, so this might be the part of the video where some of you hop off the train for trying this strategy, but if it is something you'd still like to see, maybe you just want to see what it looks like to watch someone delete currency, this will be it. We are using Winged Scarabs. Which ones are we using? We're using Abyss, Legion, Breach, Reliquary. So the reason we're using Reliquary is because of how it interacts with the God Touch. The God Touch converts items based on rarity into currency, so those uniques become Divines, Exalted Orbs. So the more uniques we drop from one thing, the more Divines and Exalted Orbs we're going to get. Now, for the compasses, we're using elevated compasses to add even more. We get 2 breaches from this, we get a legion, we get increased rare mobs from this one, and we have your maps contain 2 additional abysses. So really focusing on those mechanics, and the way that we clear the map is actually going to be really important. So the map we're running is Jungle Valley, and there is something going on with Jungle Valley. If you do not trigger the boss encounter, you cannot spawn boss related altar modifiers, which means you're always guaranteed either a global or a minion focused one. And there are some really good ones for God Touch, those being duplicated currency, increased item quantity, and increased item rarity. So what you want to do is actually clear the map before touching any of the mechanics. You want to dodge all the abysses, don't touch a breach, don't click on the legion. You just want to kill all the mobs in the map, spawn all your altars, select the good ones, and then you go back through, you do all the mechanics, and you just pray that you get a God touched. And when you do, obviously it's sublime. You get showered. We do have to roll the map specifically. We've gone for increased number of rare monsters. This is how Elleshar chooses to do it. I don't know if it's correct, because I think this only applies to the baseline rares in the map, which I'm not sure that's enough to make it worth rolling, but hey, he does it, so it's his strat. And then we've applied 20% Delirious. Delirious does give you a nice little boost to increased item quantity and increased item rarity, but of course it does make the map a bit more difficult. And one more important thing to know, I have elected to use some MF gear. I've got 2 Ventus Gambles, I have a Rarity Craft on my helm, and I have a gold flask. So that might put some people off. Obviously, I want to do the strategies justice, and he does use MF. He's not full MF, but he does use some MF on his character. So to do the strat justice, I did feel it kind of mandatory. I at least equipped some. So I'm actually going to go this time. Normally I don't, it's all smoke and mirrors, but this time I am going to go stream right now. We're going to do 8 hours of this strategy. Hopefully it's not more than 48 maps, because the investment is already incredibly high. And let's see if we can find some God touched. Oh, 10? Oh my god. You'd have to get a new pair of gloves if anything. Oh, we go on. Okay guys, so we got done with the farm yesterday, and oh boy, we have a lot to talk about. This strategy was a lot of fun in spikes, but there was a lot of tedium in between. I have a lot of thoughts about what you can do to make this strategy better. I might even do like a bonus episode where I kind of put my spin on this, because I think we can really juice this up even more. So what we're going to do, we're going to go straight on into the loot. As you can see, we get a lot of God touched. We average pretty much 1 a map. Some maps we had 2 or even 3. It's crazy for that, but the maps take very long, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't enjoy that. So here's what we ended up getting. We dropped 42 raw divines, a ridiculous amount of maps. A lot of emblem sets, a lot of influence maps. This was because of the Deli Orb we chose to use. A lot of currency. We got 2 Innocences, so there's tons of Winged Scarabs in here. It looks okay there, but we also got a lot of uniques. I actually dropped like 7 or 8 Asenats, but I just started corrupting them and they went rare. A few other things that we corrupted, and then like a Ralakesh's Impatience, a Soul Taker. We actually got a Brutal Restraint from one of the Legion bosses. I didn't even know that was possible, but lovely. And Enlighten. It's a lot of stuff, but there was a lot of investment. So let's head on into the spreadsheet and we'll have a little breakdown of what actually happened. It's quite interesting. So coming on into the spreadsheet, if you look there on the left, it doesn't look too good. 0.05 divines per hour. Someone said in one of the last videos he's never seen a div per hour as bad as the one that I had on the left. Well, there you go. There's an even worse one. However, this strat exclusively targeted the God Touch. So we are going to focus on this number on the right, which is 5.3. However, I don't think this is the best way to do this. We ended up paying so much in investment in things that ended up taking forever. Abyss and Breach, I hated it, alright? It takes so long. You can only open 1 breach at a time. You don't have Flash Breach because you're using Wandering Path, so they take forever to do. Abysses, they just go all over the place. I would drop the Abyss and Breach like that. I would rather do just a Winged Legion and a Winged Reliquary, and maybe add in a Delirium Bars fill faster and do it at a high level of Delirium. But as for this video, this is someone else's strat that I wanted to try out, and as you can see, it is still profitable, because for a strat like this, you have to include these big drops. Now, what I will say is this has the potential to go even higher depending on your luck. As I say, we dropped, what, 42 Divines from 5 God Touch. So 5 God Touched over 48 maps, when we're averaging a God Touch a map, is actually low because they're evenly weighted. Other than Innocence and Katava, I'm fairly certain every other one is evenly weighted, and there are 7. So 42% of everything other than Katava or Innocence that you find should be a God Touched, which actually makes us somewhat unlucky in how many we found. That is based on testing I've done the entire league. I've kept track of how many I've found, and the numbers kind of lead me to believe that it is evenly weighted for those ones. Now, as I said, what would I do differently? Instantly, we're dropping the Abyss, we're dropping the Breach. We're going to a higher level of Delirium, and we're probably using Skittering Orbs with Delirium Bars fill faster. This would immediately, let's just check, cut the cost down. It cuts it down so much. Like, we're at 20 Divines investment as opposed to whatever we were at before. It just would be better. But regardless of that, it was a really fun strategy in parts. And I hope this is kind of interesting, because God Touched, obviously, they get a lot of heat this league. But as you can see, they're definitely worth farming, and it is good fun when you actually find them. It's just, don't do Breach and Abyss. In my opinion, it just isn't fun. It isn't worth it for how boring it is to do them, even if you find twice as many God Touched. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and there will be a bonus episode, because I'm very eager to try out my spin on this. So if you want to see that, that'll be probably in the next week or so. We're going to do the selling stream. I've got another series planned where we maybe do some content outside of maps as opposed to mapping content, so look forward to that. We might do another little 5 days, 5 farms, but outside of maps. And yeah, we've got the doggies here. A lot of you guys seemed a bit worried about the doggies. So from me, Mabel, and Max, who's down here, you got nothing to worry about. They just needed a bit of keeping away while the kids were about. Okay, so no need to worry. I'll see you in the next video. Say bye, Mabel. Bye bye. Bye, guys.